advice of just eat more protein and lift more weights is not good enough for women who have been actually applying and trying this for quite some time, and they are struggling to see change with their metabolism, their muscle mass, their bone density. Someone might need to start asking, hey, is there something else we're missing? What is not getting explained to us properly? What is happening with the female body? So I really want to cover something that I think is super helpful and important. It can really change how we feel in our workouts, how we feel in terms of the muscles being used, and also I believe this to be a factor in helping some women be able to absorb more protein from the foods that they're already eating. Because I know so many women that actually do eat well, they do exercise, but this tiny little detail is usually that one determining tiny huge detail that makes a big difference. And once we start to address this, we feel a lot of change within our whole body. So I'm going to do my best to explain this to you with a salt and pepper shaker. So if you can imagine that this is your ribcage and this is your pelvis, we can just imagine that they're stacked on top of each other for most humans, or our body tries its best to align itself like this. But what happens for a lot of women due to stress, injuries, pregnancy, or life situations is that we sometimes can lose our alignment a little bit. As a result to that, when we lose this position and we're kind of like this or maybe like that, so if you lose that alignment and maybe if you've got pelvic floor issues, this might seem a little bit familiar, impacts how our body handles pressure. This also impacts how our body weight bears. So the further we are from our alignment, this actually greatly impacts our ability to load well. This impacts the muscles that we use. So some of us will end up overusing certain muscles and underusing others. When we pay more attention to this, we can sort of start to think, this is really, really important. This is so important, and regardless of the amount of protein that I'm having or the workouts that I'm doing, if I'm not focusing on this element, I could be missing a lot to my puzzle. It's quite importantly the most important puzzle piece I find, and it's often the one that once women address this, they start to feel muscles they've never engaged before or haven't engaged in a really long time. And they start to feel a lot more stronger, they start to feel a lot more balanced in their body, and they didn't have to do anything extreme. So now that I shared that with you, we need to address how do we achieve this? Well, the first things we do is focusing on alignment-based exercises. So if you're familiar with the exercises I like to share, it's exercises that are going to help you get that stack back to the best of your body's ability. Now, we are all genetically a little bit different, so everyone's stacking might look slightly different, but you will notice when it's the right position for you because you feel your glutes work, you feel muscles in your back engage, you feel muscles in your core engage that you haven't really ever felt before. And oftentimes what happens is a lot of chronic pain goes away. That is my favorite part, because pain is usually a factor that prevents people from actually having the confidence to exercise, or in fact just motivation, because when something hurts, why would you do it, right? So focusing on those exercises, and what also doesn't really get mentioned a lot is your breathing. So when you're breathing correctly, breathing in and out through your nose to the best of your ability, nice and calmly, you are less likely to lose your stack position. You're going to breathe in a nice flow. This is also really good for your pelvic floor, your stress hormones, and just your overall nervous system tone. And importantly, the third thing I will say is your eyes. So if you've been around for a while, you know that I love the eye muscles. When our eye muscles are really tight, we're focusing too much, things really tense up in our whole body, and this impacts our posture greatly. I will often see people improve their posture as soon as their eye muscles start to relax. And what I mean by that is just think about dazing, relaxing, not being too stressed. Your eyes are just chill. When you're exercising or when you're out walking, looking long distance, you will actually have your eye tone change. And that in itself actually impacts all the tissue all the way from the back of the head down to your tail. And when that tissue is nice and healthy, you're actually gonna be a little bit more in alignment, because your breathing is gonna be better, because how you see impacts how you breathe. When your body sees things that are relaxing, your breath calms down. And when the breath is calm, we are happy. When the breath is tight or tense, we go like tensed up, right? So thinking about this will hopefully be insightful, and I'm gonna share below videos that I think are really helpful if you don't practice them already, to help you just become more aware of your alignment. And when we can strengthen our alignment and our overall postural position just to have a good base, and then apply that good foundation and base to the exercises that you're already doing, you're going to start to see great change in your muscle, in your posture, in your body tone, in your confidence, and everything else. So check it out below. I hope it's helpful. And here's to feeling strong, fit, and powerful.